Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A little after 8 o'clock Eastern Time here, Sunday evening, November 15th. I want to share with you tonight what it means to live a life with the end in mind. We're going to give about 60 seconds here for people to pop in, join the scope here, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. While we're waiting for folks to chime in, I want to read you something that I wrote on the description for my wife and I's bucket list on our personal Facebook pages. This was what we put in the description at the top. Wisdom dictates that we spend our money on experiences rather than things, on contribution rather than consumption. Everybody dies, not everybody lives. Do something every day that scares you. Live your life on purpose. If we believe that our lives are mere pawns in a great cosmic battle between God and the fallen angels who got arrogant, prideful, and rejected his kingship in an attempt to establish their own, then that changes how we live. I've reached an age where those that I've looked up to growing up, those who have mentored me, who have been an example to me, are changing their permanent residence to a heavenly address, one friend at a time. As that happens, it changes how you live. Each memorial service reminds me that our time to be an influence is limited. A soldier makes his or her life count to the very last breath. We've been put here with an assignment, a mission, and a purpose. We can ignore it and live an unfulfilled life merely living for the weekend, or we can discover it and make an impact that will last for generations, leaving a spiritual, emotional, and financial inheritance and a legacy that will transform the world. Through our bucket list, we challenge you to discover your mission, your assignment, and we offer to assist you with a business opportunity that may be able to help you fund your dreams. There is more to life than a job that we do to earn income. You were designed for something more than just yourself. It's time to start your life. Our mission, to ignite all young people to own their lives physically and financially, and through our contributions create freedom and a lasting legacy. When you can donate $1 million to charity of your choice, where will you give? Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, I challenge you, what does it mean to you to live life with the end in mind? To live life with no regrets? To live life focused on personal development, becoming the best version of you that you can possibly be. Me becoming the best version of me that I could possibly be. My handle here on Periscope, on social media across the board, is at Isocopes. What does that mean, at Isocopes? Go ahead and take a screenshot of that if you want. At Isocopes, I-S-A, in search of venture. Inspirational support of your assignment. And of course, our last name. What adventures are you in search of? What are you looking to accomplish in your life? What have you been called to do? What's bigger than you? What's bigger than yourself? Why are you here? That's what we're talking about tonight. Hopefully this goes about 15 minutes, not too much longer, and we'll see how it times out when we're all said and done. We are body, soul, and spirit. No matter what tradition you look at, as you break things down, we are body, soul, and spirit. Things come in threes, and it's kind of amazing how that works, where there's a physical being, there's our heart, mind, will, and our emotions. And then there's the spiritual side to who we are. And Western culture tells us that when we die, our soul goes to heaven, and I believe that to be inaccurate. My personal viewpoint work in your life and how you interpret things, but I'll give you mine, and you can make it work in your worldview. We have a physical being, a physical body, that this is our container for the time that we're here. And we have our heart, mind, will, and emotion, and that's our soul. And I believe that kind of dies when we die, when this physical being dies. But the part that goes on, the part that lives into eternity, is our spirit. And a lot of people live their lives in that body for the flesh. A lot of people live lives out of their soul, their heart, mind, will, and emotions. But it's those talented few, those amazing people who learn to live life from their spirit, calling their heart, mind, will, and emotions, calling their body into being with that assignment that has been given to their spirit, the part of them that's going to live on long into eternity, that really make an impact in the world. And I know there are people that challenge me that, and that's cool, but just so you get my philosophy, where I'm coming from, so that this makes sense, and then you can apply it to your paradigm, your view of the world. So if we're body, soul, and spirit, and it's our spirit that receives that assignment, and I'll get into this in a little bit more, what's our purpose? I'll go back to what I said in the beginning as I was reading through in the bucket list piece. I believe we're in a great cosmic battle. Dr. Tony Evans did a phenomenal job in his audio series called Spiritual Warfare. And he breaks this down. And he goes back to before the beginning of quote-unquote time, as we know it. And the battle between God and Lucifer is this angel that really wanted to kind of take over in heaven. God kicked him to the curb and said, see ya, you're out. And then this whole thing called time. Tony makes this point, what if that fallen angel was kicked to earth? And earth was at one point a beautiful place, and that earth became a formless void because this fallen angel was banished here. God took this formless void, made it beautiful, as a way to show up his enemy. To say, look, I'm going to take what you destroyed and I'm going to make it beautiful again. And then I'm going to take these creatures who are just a little bit lower than the angels, and I'm going to use them, and they're going to worship me in ways that you wouldn't and you couldn't watch. Great cosmic battle. And we're merely pawns. Well, that's one way to think about it, and some people don't like that terminology, but just flow with me and see where this goes here. What if we're just merely pawns in this battle? And what if the whole purpose, the whole reason for our existence is simply to show up, to one up, to say, see, told you so, before the final day? If we live that way, if we have that viewpoint, and if we realize that our job is to kind of help build this heavenly army, interesting thought. How do we then live? This body, soul, spirit thing really came into a deeper understanding for me when I got the opportunity to do a 6-month internship with a counselor. And she was really helping to break down the struggles that people have and why some folks get stuck. And when she started to break it down and help people realize, look, your body wants one thing, and your heart, mind, will, and emotions might want something else, and your spirit wants a third thing. When you realize that there are 3 parts, and that one of you is supposed to be in control, and that would be your spirit, and you allow your spirit to rise up and be in the lead over the other 2, over your soul, over your body, amazing things begin to happen. Because when your spirit leads, everything else falls into place. Living with the end in mind. See, a lot of people, they let their bodies lead. Okay, we let our flesh lead. And we get concerned about whether or not we have a thigh gap. We get concerned about, what our fitness level looks like, or how we look in the mirror at the gym, whether or not we're ripped, whether we're a certain weight on the scale or a size pant or size dress that we get into. We're living for the sex life. We're living for the adrenaline high. We're living for the chemical dependency high. We're running our life totally based on the needs, desires, and wants of our body. But at some point, we learn to step up and rise above that. We learn to step up and come over that. And we start walking life from the soul perspective, the heart, mind, will, and emotions. Go to college. Get a good education. Make sure you get a good job so you can put a roof over your head, so you can take care of your kids, so you can take care of your family. So you're not living in a van down by the river. And then we start thinking, well, hey, maybe I could be rich and famous. Maybe I could be a movie star. Maybe I can. And we start setting some of these goals. But they're goals that very much come from here, from that soul place, that heart, mind, will, and emotions kind of thing. What's going to make me happy today? What's going to make me feel whatever it is that I'm trying to feel, that I've been trying to feel for a while, and I use chemicals to try to get me there, and whatever it was. It's all from here. But when we reach that point, when we start being led by our spirit, by that thing that was placed inside of us when life was breathed into us, right? When that part of our being rises up, awakens, stops sleeping, rises up and begins to lead, and calls the heart, mind, will, and emotions, and calls the body into order, all of that other stuff we realize is meaningless. And as that all of that other stuff is meaningless, the more fulfilling our life becomes. And personal development is a tool, is a road that'll get you there. You've got to do some of the book work. You've got to do some of the journaling. You've got to listen to the podcast, and you've got to get these influences in your life that are helping you figure out how to live according to that spiritual things and placed inside of you to say, this is why you're here, and this is what you've been called to. And once you figure out what that assignment is, you begin to come alive. And when you become alive, there is no high that compares to that. There is no adrenaline rush that compares to that, because you are living for that which you were created for, that you were called to do. And it's a phenomenal experience when you reach that point in your life and you begin to get out of your own way. Because up until this point, our heart, mind, will, and emotions, and our body, and that negative inner voice and the fear that we have begin to, try to prevent us from living that purpose, from living that assignment, from doing that which we have been called to do. But what if there is a way to shut up that negative inner voice? I have a friend who named hers and tells him to go stand in the corner. Coolest idea ever. One way to deal with it. I have another friend today, he just told me he curses his out. That's it. That's another way to do it. When you realize that you have a mission, an assignment, and a purpose, all of a sudden you can say to that negative inner voice, look, what you think about how I look in the mirror, what you think about my level of success right now compared to other people's, really doesn't matter, because that's not the standard by which I'm comparing myself to. This is my mission. This is my assignment. This is my purpose, and this is all that matters. And all this fear garbage about fight or flight and survival, it doesn't matter, because that's not why I'm here. Once you know why you're here and what you're all about, your whole life changes. Let me just tell you. At the same time, once you've reached that point, you realize that it can be a lonely place, because not everybody's reached that point. And now you've got to seek out the other people who are on that personal development journey, maybe on a slightly different track, but heading in the same general direction, and partner with them and pair up with them to find that community that you're looking for. And then you've got to keep yourself inspired. Part of that is finding these community of people who are like-minded, who are kind of moving in the same direction. Part of it is doing your visualizations. The song that I opened up the scope with was the beginning from Narnia. It's part of the Narnia soundtrack, Chronicles of Narnia. And that, for me, is a great visualization tool. A great epic movie theme song, as I like to call it. And if you go to my Isocopes YouTube page, you will find a list on there. One of my playlists is the epic movie theme song. So find Isocopes on YouTube. You can screenshot that, and you will find my epic movie theme songs on there that I use. It's under the playlist section, or favorites, or something like that. That's one of the ways that I keep myself inspired. I'm in search of adventure. I'm looking for new and different experiences that are going to help me create for others that which I've been called to do. One of the ways that we do this is through some brain training. And I would highly, strongly encourage you to go to my Periscope profile and click on the link that says Winning the Game of Fear. Okay? Click on that link, go there, watch that video, and consider taking a look at that program. I use that system over the course of about 9 weeks to absolutely make it working for me. And I started redoing that program. I started going through it again this weekend. Just came back from a phenomenal Cayman vacation. We were down there for a week with a couple of millionaires, learning and training and getting some ideas and figuring things out, and just masterminding with some awesome individuals. And on the flight home, I pulled out these MP3s and I started playing them again and going through this brain training. And it's just in a couple days of revisiting something that I went through for 9 weeks has just lit me up inside and got me going and got me jazzed up about some different things. So I really want to encourage you to hit my profile, and you can find it there. You can also find it on my website. Screenshot this, makelifemoreepic.com, and go to the bottom, Winning the Game of Fear. It's there as well. So you can click it in my Periscope profile. You can click it off my website, makelifemoreepic.com, down at the bottom. Hopefully you all got your screenshots. There you go. But Winning the Game of Fear, that is a phenomenal system for helping to train your brain to get out of your own way. And how many times do we know that we hold ourselves back, that we live small? You're done playing small. I'm done playing small. A couple things off my bucket list. Ran up a mountain earlier this summer. Got to see a sunrise. Got up at 5 o'clock and jogged a mile and a half to the top of the place called the Pinnacle in Pennsylvania. Awesome, amazing view. Did a Periscope from up there. We're designed for more than just to pay bills and die. Went out and saw the Grand Canyon. My wife and I went scuba diving. She got to swim with dolphins. We rode horseback in the ocean. I got dunked in a dunk tank. That was kind of cool. I got a selfie photo with Robert, the amazing flight attendant from Southwest who's on YouTube and different. I said out loud, I made a declaration, law of attraction. I want a selfie. I want to be on a flight with Robert, and I want to see him live as he does his whole comedy routine as part of the flight attendant shtick. And sure enough, coming back from one of our vacations in August out to San Diego, I got to fly back with Robert as our flight attendant. Dude, and he was awesome. He was really cool. And I got a selfie with him, and it's in my bucket list folder. You can check it out on my drew.cope on Facebook. It's there. Running a half marathon, did that. On the list to do in the future, hot air balloon rides, parasailing, kite surfing, sleeping in an underwater hotel, maybe going hang gliding, sleeping in a lighthouse. Went skydiving this summer. Amazing experience. Buy experiences rather than things. Because here's what the experiences do. When you live your life as intensely as my wife and I do, because we found our mission, we found our assignment, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of emotional energy. And when you're living life that intense and that focused on your goal, you've got to take breaks to re-energize yourself, to inspire yourself. So you know what? We go on vacation 3 or 4 times a year. We go away for a week or 2 weeks, and February we were away for 3 down in the Caribbean, and doing activities and experiences that help re-energize, reinvigorate who you are. Living that life of adventure. And I want that for you, because what the world needs is not more people trying to do what they think the world needs. What the world needs is people who are doing that which makes them come alive. So figure out what it is that makes you come alive and do that, rather than worrying about what you think the world needs you to be. Figure out what makes you come alive. There's a quote from somebody, I forget who, look it up. So hit up the brain training thing, get that thing under your belt. Find ways to keep yourself inspired. Dr. Mike Murdock talks about you are responsible for your own inspiration. So you've got to do things on a regular basis that keep you energized. Because sometimes when you get on your mission, you get focused, or you're just in that pay bills till I die thing, it's real easy to get lost. And it's real easy to lose sight of where you're headed. My wife and I know where we're headed. We have a dream to build a huge addition on our house, to make room for a total of 6 foster kids, and some transitional apartments upstairs, so that when the kids age out of the system, they can rent from us, be upstairs, be close, and yet still kind of be on their own. It's a $500,000 project. That sounds like fun. For some people, that sounds scary. I got a big God. He's got sheep on 1,000 hills. I ain't worried about it. The money's going to come, or we're going to create it, one way or the other. We have an awesome network marketing company that's doing phenomenal things for us and allowing us to really help people transform their lives, and it's paying us to take 3 vacations a year. So I have no question that we're going to reach this goal. But in the midst of getting there, in the midst of working towards it and doing the work we're doing with our current kids and trying to figure out how we're going to branch forward in the future, there's a lot of really intense stuff that's racking your brain, and you've got to do things to keep yourself refreshed, fueled up, because you can't give from an empty cup. Can't do it. So how do you keep your cup full? That's what we're talking about tonight. You got to focus on the end game. You got to live with the end in mind. You got to know that what you're doing, if I died today, everyone's kind of focused on this Paris thing right now. God bless them. If I died today, I know that I would leave this earth having made a difference, that the world is a better place because I've been here. If you live with that type of mentality where you don't have any regrets, where you're living in such a way that it doesn't matter when you go because you know you've made a difference and you know you've left your family better off for you being there, life is good. Now, if you haven't lived that kind of life, maybe it's time to start making some changes. But if you have, then the major events of the world become less important to you, become less influential to you. They don't suck the life out of you like they once did, because you know your mission, you know your purpose, you know your assignment, you know where you're going and why you're going and what you're called to do. And I know that if I live to be 125 years old, which would be my goal, then I'm going to have made a difference for a lot of people along the way. So what are you called to do? What is your mission? What is your assignment? Why are you here? And how are you going to begin to live with the end in mind? You're here for a purpose. So avoid the distractions. Focus on your highest income-producing goals and impact-producing goals. Income and impact. There's a lot of things my wife and I do that have huge impact to people's lives. And there's a lot of things that we can do to generate a lot of income. And we need income in order to have impact sometimes. So don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. Break that negative dialogue with money and realize that, you know what? we're open to receiving large quantities of money because that's what it's going to take to accomplish the big dreams, the big visions, and the big ideas that we have about the future. So that's my challenge for you. Get out of your own way. Call your spirit forward and allow it to rise up and lead. In fact, we're going to do that right here as we wrap up this scope here tonight. If this is not for you, you can end the broadcast now. If you're open to your spirit coming forward, then that's what we're going to speak right now. I call your spirit forward, past your heart, mind, will, soul, and emotions, past your body, to rise up and to lead, and to do that which you have been called to do, to fulfill that mission, that assignment that you were uniquely created to address. That you from this day forward would live from the Spirit, a life on purpose, a life on mission, a life that's going to transform the lives of those around you. And you're going to have a wild ride doing it. I bless you with a life of adventure. I bless you with a life of fun. And a tolerance for uncertainty. Because as you branch out, there's going to be things that become uncertain. And the greater your tolerance for uncertainty, Tony Robbins says, the more likely you are to be successful. I'll leave you with that. Friends, have a great night. This is Drew in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, saying dream big, dream bigger. Hashtag make life more epic. You can find us on Isocopes, at Isocopes on social media. You can screenshot that, ISA in Search of Adventure, inspirational support of assignments. You can also check out our website, makelifemoreepic.com. We'll catch you guys in another scope, another video. This is Drew, saying bye for now.